jetpack? All right, Cordy. Here you go, Woodman. Uh-oh.
What?
What have we got here? What have we got here?
Oh, fiskers.
Excalibur.
Right.
Fiskars are small. I've never used one of them. I just think they'd be too heavy. Heavier than what I prefer.
Same handle though.
Alright.
Steel. That's what they said is forged.
Uh-huh. £4 Michigan. I've heard of Michigan axes. Aren't those supposed to be pretty decent axes? Axe. Hickory. Hassle-free lifetime guarantee. Genuine American hickory. I like every one of those words. I think I like that middle word the most. Painted it blue right there. I like that too. I like it. Favorite color?
Okay.
Look at that Dodgy Wadgy. That thing is in good condition right there. Guys gonna see me record them thinking, what in the world? I don't like the color at all myself, but I like the Dodge. Look much better black. Look at that thing. Look at it. Just look at it. Clearing out a little brush here, and I found a little something. Look how well that blends in. Where's the head? I don't want to get bit. It's not a snapping turtle, but they still bite. It's a little tarpon. I always call them. Anyways, here's the okra I'm going to be chopping down today. It's dead, as you can see. Be a big white oak. Pretty big tree, but right now I've got to clear out some of this around it. So that's what I'm working on right now. Okay, today I'm going to be, I already mentioned it, I've cleared out around it. As you can see, gave myself a path to exit on here. And this is a big dead white oak, and I'm gonna test. It's a tall one. Actually, I think this is taller than the last one I felled. Maybe about the same in girth, maybe a little bigger. Actually, I think it's a little bigger at the base. But I'm gonna test this axe out, and which I already have been doing, as you can see, clearing this out. But it's a Kobalt axe made by Kobalt, but the head is a Michigan head. And I like the handle, hickory. It's painted blue on the end, which is my favorite color. I liked Kobalt tools anyways. I've never had an axe by Kobalt. But when I seen this one today and I seen the head on it and I seen that profile on it, and the price too. This is about half the price of a Fiskars, which is around $70, $80. This I think was around $40. Seems to be pretty well made axe. Look at that right there, how they bored a hole through it. And looks like they put a pin in right there. So I'm guessing that holds the head on even better. I'm guessing that's what that's for. I don't know for sure. But anyways, it's a little heavier than the Fiskars. The head's 4 pounds, which I think on the Fiskars is the same. But this handle, I believe, is a little bit heavier. It's close, though. It's actually close to the Fiskars. The head on it doesn't have a wedge like the Fiskars, but it's actually a pretty wide head. And it's got, you can bang wedges with that as well, as you see. So I'm pretty excited about using it. And what I read about these online, the Michigan heads they started making in the 1860s, I think it said. And so they're supposed to be, they used to be the go-to heads for chopping and felling trees, is what I read about them for a lot of lumberjacks. So it should do good with this. But then again, this design could be completely different from those, but I think they're supposed to be pretty similar. Very interesting. I'll add a little bit of audio in on these, and I'll kind of read it off to you. Some of the stuff that I read, I thought it was very interesting on these Michigan heads here. Palm swell on it. That's a simple made axe, and I like it, to be honest. Got to try it out. Here's the profile. Looks to me like it'd be a good splitting axe, honestly. From the profile. It has 2 cone wedges in it. You can bank some wedges with that too. And the handle's pretty long too. I think it's the same as the Fiskars, if I'm not mistaken. 36 inches is what that would be. Hickory. I like that blue too. As I said, that's my favorite color, blue, and I've owned quite a few Kobalt tools and I really like them. They're better priced than DeWalt and things of that nature, Bosch, and seem to be good quality as well. Their impacts and power tools and stuff like that, their drills, in my opinion, they're good tools. Try it out. Big trees can be a little intimidating. So far, so good. Thanks, chopping this oak. Get closer so this camera don't mess up. So far, so good. Talking to the camera. This thing's a pretty good chopper, it seems like. This oak is tough stuff. It's, if you've ever chopped any of it or split it, you know oak is just tough. But chopping it's really tough, in my opinion. Tough wood. I'm pretty happy with how that Kobalt turned out, especially for the price. I think it was like $37.88 or something like that. It has a hickory handle, has a Michigan axe head. I mean, the head's a good chopper. I believe it'll be a good splitter. I plan to do a video soon on that. And you can also bang wedges with it. So I think it's, and that handle was tough too. I mean, I hit it pretty good. I mean, not saying I hit the handle really bad, banged it up, but there were some times where I think it maybe nicked it a little bit, and it didn't even really have a mark on it, just a little bit of dirt from where I cleared some of the brush out. But the Michigan heads, I'm going to read you something here a little bit, and it says the Michigan axe was widely used around the 1860s and is still used today. To better suit the thick and dense wood in the area, this felling axe became the go-to. The axe head was created specifically to handle the dense white pine in the lumber-rich area of Michigan. So I guess that's why it's called a Michigan. Lumber as a whole in the United States was a very big industry, especially this part of the United States. And so the Michigan axe was created. Although axes have been around for ages, each one is slightly different in its design. The Michigan pattern was created to deal with a type of wood lumberjacks came across in this part of the world. Mostly these trees were very large, heavy, and possibly frozen. When the Michigan design came into existence, it made felling these trees much easier and became the standard for top-of-the-line tomahawks for many years. So that's very interesting. I mean, I'm sure this Michigan is maybe different than some of those older ones. I'm sure it is, but there's probably similarities as well. It's probably built similar. So it says the key points of the design was a more curved bit of the axe head. It was specifically tempered to hold an edge and differed from other more straight bit designs of the time. The curve allowed the axe to bite deeper into the wood for better power swings. Both Michigan double bit and single bit axes were designed this way. When looking at the bit of the axe, there are two corners. The corner furthest away from the user is called the toe, and the corner closer to the user is called the heel. With a new Michigan design, both the heel and toe were a bit more rounded than in previous models. This slight change really helped when chopping into extra hard wood, as I'm doing here with this oak. If the heel and toe were straight, it would have more of a chance of chipping. The Michigan pattern also introduced a heavier pole. The back of the axe, known as pole, was always quite small and did not really have any real purpose. The heavier pole helped give more heft to the axe head as a whole, causing deeper bites into the wood. The pole was also slightly rounded compared to the other axe patterns, but was not hardened, so it was not used as a hammer. These axe heads range from about 3 to 7 pounds depending on the capabilities and strength of the user. The axe handles varied greatly from very straight to very curved, also based on personal preference. Double bit axes were as common as single bits. They allowed fellows to only have to carry one axe that could do two jobs. This is what makes the Michigan pattern stand out and the preferred tool for dealing with wood similar to the white pine lumberjacks had to deal with in the Great Lakes and Michigan area. For the most part, due to so many competing companies in those days, the patterns were mostly regional. One standout being the Michigan axe head pattern, which is still used today, unlike many other older patterns. So I guess what that is saying is a lot of the older patterns that we've seen before they're not used today as the Michigan is. That came out in the 1860s when they started making the Michigan axe head, and they're still making them today. And I think that's very interesting that a $38 axe from Lowe's, a Kobalt, has a hickory handle and a Michigan head for that price. To me, is very fair. Honestly, you can't even really get an axe head for that, a good one. I mean, maybe you can if you find it in the right place, but in my opinion, that's a very good deal. These oak trees will really test your fitness, your cardio, and just kind of shape that you're in, your willpower, everything, really. I mean, I chopped on that thing for quite a while, and I kept thinking, surely it's about to go, and it just held up for a long time. These oaks are really tough, and just chopping down a big tree in general, with an axe is a workout, but I do believe if I had a maple that same size, it would probably win in probably half the time. It chops so much easier, something like maple or poplar or something similar. I would imagine that hickory is pretty rough to chop too, and I do intend to do one of those in the near future probably. This tree was dead, and it was a big oak, and any chance that I get to fell one with an axe, I'll probably take it, just because it's, for one thing, it's some good footage, and for another thing, I really honestly enjoy it. It's very accomplishing feeling when you do it. And I know I could go in there with a chainsaw and easily do it, but this day I wasn't in a real big hurry or anything like that. I got out there later in the day and happened to purchase this axe. Actually, what I was stopping at Lowe's for plexiglass for my window, and then I was going to just get a hickory handle and hang a different axe head. But when I was there and I seen that Kobalt for the deal that it was, and I saw the axe head on it and the handle that it had, I thought, well, I'll just buy that. Plus the blue was a plus for me as well. That's my favorite color. So I mean, honestly, I like that axe. I really do. I think it's a great one. There were some other axes there that had similar heads to the Fiskars, kind of like a wedge type head for splitting. But I don't really like those plexiglass handles, and myself. Fiberglass handles. What am I saying? Plexiglass. I don't really like those fiberglass handles myself. I was talking about plexiglass from my window, and I'm sitting there calling them plexiglass handles. Okay, fiberglass handles. I don't really like them a whole lot myself. I know some people are okay with them, but me myself, I don't really like them a lot. And what I'm saying here is the knots there. As you can see, how it's lower on the right side there. If you're looking at the screen, what that'll help with is when that tree starts to give, that gives it more, or starts to fall, that gives it more room on that right side to fall, and it'll catch on the left side center, which will make it go to the left now from the direction we're looking, which is kind of where I wanted to go. And I'm very surprised at what happened with this tree as it began to fall, and I'll let you see. It's nothing major or anything like that, but I'll let you see it if you end up watching what happened when it falls. I didn't expect it to happen. But this oak, once you get below once you get through the bark,
some people around here call them sand hornets.
That first layer of wood, it really gets, it's like the deeper you get into this stuff, the harder it gets. So I guess you're getting into what's called the heartwood as you get deeper into it, and towards the center, I guess. And then just the wood. Oh, there's a big, huge hornet there. And that's what I'm talking about here at this moment too. That hornet, whenever I see those, I try to give them space. So a lot of people around here call them sand hornets, but I looked them up online. I think they're some kind of Japanese hornet, which it very well could be a sand hornet as well. I'm not sure, but a guy I just delivered to recently was telling me he had been stung by one, and that he passed out in about 2 minutes. And I heard of another person getting hit in the forehead by one that was flying, and it stung them as soon as it hit them and knocked them dead out.
Anyways, he got stung by one of those.
So I always try to avoid them. I've been stung by about everything but them, as far as I know, in my area anyways. Most things anyways. You know, wasp and bees and yellow jackets and things of that nature. But I've never been stung by one of them, and I've always been very afraid to be stung by one. My papaw, who was a very tough man and didn't spook easily at all, I don't know if I'd ever seen that man get spooked in his life. We was at a creek one day, and he lifted up a rock, and I remember I think 3 snakes went up his pant leg, and he didn't scream or jump or nothing. If it would have been me, I would have been hollering and jumping, you know, and I don't know telling what I would have done. But he just didn't spook easy. But he was telling me about how that one of them had stung him one night, and how he laid in bed sweating in pain throughout the night, just rolling and sweating. And I like to swing right-handed, so it's right in my way of standing to where I can swing right-handed. So I'm going to chop it at about right there, and it should chop a lot easier than the oak does. As you can see here, this maple chops so much easier than the oak. It's just not nearly as dense or as hard or as heavy as the oak. There's a huge difference between the two, as there is between, you know, oak and poplar or anything else like that, you know. As I said earlier, I would imagine that hickory would be pretty tough to chop, I would imagine. Haven't done it yet, but I do plan to do it in the near future. I also plan to do a splitting video. I'm thinking of maybe doing something with the Fiskars and the Kobalt. See how they compare. But all in all, that's a great little axe, honestly. It really is, especially for the price. I would definitely recommend it. If I had to give it a rating, honestly, I can't give it a rating for splitting yet because I haven't really split with it. But as far as chopping and everything else goes, it's a great axe. The maple chops so much easier than the oak does. Way easier. And not only that, this is a good chopper. I like it. Definitely chops better than the Fiskars. If you can tell how tall this tree is or not on this camera, you know how they do sometimes. The heel doesn't even look like heel sometimes on a camera. But I don't know in numbers how to say how tall it is, but it's a tall tree. It's a tall tree. And I'm planning to put it down that way. Probably gonna go right across the logging road down there. Okay, that's not the way in. I know this isn't the greatest view right here, what you're getting. What I'm doing here is kind of just marking it. I'm making sure that I'm putting my back cut above the notch on the other side of the tree. And I mentioned later on why that's so important, but many people already know that I would guess. Anybody that's experienced in tree felling and knows what they're doing anyways, kind of understands the notch and the back cut. So I'm just kind of marking around the tree just to make sure I go above that notch. That way my hingewood's there whenever this tree's ready to fall. Man, the weather was so much better. It makes a huge difference.
Alright, I'm gonna start on the back cut now. I was kind of just marking it there.
60 degrees compared to 90 degrees is a big difference.
There is where I'm chopping across. But make sure if you do this, which if you know how to fell a tree with the chainsaw, you know whenever you do your notch on the other side, the way that you want the tree to fall, sun is right in my eyes. Whenever you do that and you come around the back and do your back cut, make sure your back cut is higher than your notch. Because if not, you'll completely cut your hinge wood, and then when this tree starts to fall, it'll have nothing to control the direction that it falls. So rather than just falling that way, it could begin to fall that way and then jump off the stump and come right towards you and kill you. I've had it happen before. It didn't come towards me, but it came towards the spot that I was standing on before, and it's because I didn't know what I was doing at all. I was shaking with the chainsaw doing it. It was a huge tree, and it jumped as it began to fall. It fell about that far and literally jumped off the stump to the other side that I had just been standing on. So make sure when you just study up on this before you ever try it, period, and get comfortable at felling them with the chainsaw first. There's something moving behind me right in the brush here. I don't like it. Hopefully it's something little. But anyways, what I was saying is just get comfortable felling them with a chainsaw, because it's pretty much the same concept. You know, then you learn about your hinge wood and how important that is and everything. That's what'll control your tree as it falls. And there's far more to it than that. And then there's so many different trees, and you can get into rotten trees and things like that. And if the tree's leaning, it can be a lot more dangerous because it puts pressure on the tree. And actually, years ago, I cut a big oak down that was leaning pretty hard. And I watched the video by Buck and Billy Ray and about a bore cut, using a bore cut where you go straight through. And I did that and followed the steps that he mentioned, and it worked perfect. I dropped it right where I wanted, and it takes the pressure off of that tree because it's got so much pressure built up in it. If you try to just do your notch and then do your back cut on one that's got a lot of pressure like that, it can have so much pressure that the whole tree can kick back on you. Same concept with this right here. So this one is leaning. The other one I cut down wasn't leaning too hard. This one's leaning a little bit, not real bad. But it'll be fine felling it this way, I believe. Anyways, get back to it.
I was very happy with how this thing chopped. These oaks, as I said, if you know anything about them, if you ever done them yourself, you know they're tough. They're tough to chop. White oak can be pretty tough to split as well, but red oak is great to split. Overall, so far, I'm happy with it. If I gave it, so far, honestly, on a scale from 1 to 10, for the price that I gave for this axe, and for how it feels in the hand, and for how it's held up and everything, honestly, and for how well it chops, just everything overall so far, you know, the comfort of it when I swing it, the durability, the head, functionality,
quality, everything, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Pictures, I give a 10 out of 10. I would give this one a 9 so far. We'll see if that changes at all whenever I split with it. It may go down, it may go up after that as an overall axe. But for the price, as I said, the Fiskars are about twice the price, or close to it. And I do give it a 10 out of 10, the Fiskars. But this one, as I said, so far, I give it a 9. I'm very happy with it. Honestly, I didn't plan to get this axe. I planned to actually get a hickory handle to hang another axe head. And rather than doing that, I seen this and just decided to get it. And the price between that hickory handle and this axe weren't that big of a difference. There wasn't much of a gap in it. I think the handle was around close to like $18 or $20, and this axe was about $38. So, you know, for what you could buy 2 axe handles for there, for the price they had them, you could buy one of these axes with a handle and a head, and you know, already hung and everything ready to go. So I thought it made more sense to get this, and honestly, I was curious to try the axe out. Didn't realize it had a Michigan head. I don't think until I got it down and read it. I didn't really know what to expect as far as the head went on it. I've never had a Michigan axe myself, but from what I read about them, they're supposed to be pretty good axe heads. I know this isn't a vintage axe head or anything like that, but they all start out new at one time or another. And I know back in the day, older days anyways, it seemed like they made a lot of things better quality than they do now. I don't believe that's always the case, but I think it was far more common for them to be better quality back then. It is always a little intimidating too, doing a tree this big, just because, I mean, the stories I've heard of men getting their heads crushed flat and things like that, it just makes it a little nerve-wracking. Which I still try to be safe about it and use the right technique. And I've still got a lot of learning to do myself when it comes to certain things, honestly. But I felt pretty comfortable with this. I felt like I knew what I was doing and everything. And I mentioned in this video, I don't know if I've done it yet already up to this point, but lots of things make a difference when it comes to splitting. Like if the tree chopping. If the tree is, well, let's just take chopping out, even felling. If the tree is leaning hard, it makes a big difference because it puts a lot of pressure down at the cutting point from where you're cutting or chopping or whatever. A lot of pressure is built up in that point, and you're kind of slowly releasing it, but it can kick back pretty hard on you and I mean, it can kill you if it's leaning too hard and you do it the traditional way of just notching it and then doing the back cut. I mean, as you do that back cut, it may just kick back out of nowhere really fast and smash you completely. So there's a lot of things to consider with each and every tree. You know, how straight is the tree? What kind of tree is it? How solid is the tree? Is there anything around the tree that it will get caught up on? Do you have a path of retreat, of escape to get away from the tree if something goes wrong or whatever. I try to get away anyways, usually, at least a pretty safe distance, because I know they throw branches and stuff sometimes as well, and those can be very dangerous. I mean, those can be killers. I've heard of men being killed by branches falling out of the tops. This one had some sketchy branches in the tops on the other side from what I'm on right now. The first side where I put my notch, there was a pretty good sized dead branch above me, and I try to keep an eye on it, for the most part, but it takes just one time for one of them to penetrate you right, and I mean, it can kill you really quick. I mean, you probably wouldn't even see it coming.
He's a good chopper. I think he's going to be a good splitter too, though.
When you work with something this heavy and just this unpredictable sometimes, I won't say completely unpredictable, but hard to predict. Sometimes it can just be very dangerous.
It's going to be a good splitter too.
You can lose your life so fast. I don't take it lightly whenever I do these kind of things, by any means. I mean, everything about it can be very dangerous. Everything about it can potentially end your life, really. tree felling, you know, an axe, swinging an axe, a chainsaw, falling with a piece of wood or whatever, a big round. You know, there's a lot of potential dangers here. Something falling out of the top of the tree, as I said a while ago, and hitting you. But all in all, this went good for the most part. As I said, something happened that I didn't expect that I wish wouldn't have happened, but it did, and it's something I can solve. I believe anyway, so I'm not too bummed about it. As you can see, it takes. I wonder if I were to count how many swings I swung to chop this thing down, you know, to fell this tree, counting both sides, you know, the notch and then the back cut. I wonder how many times I swung. It had to be, I would guess hundreds for sure, but maybe over 1,000 swings even. I don't know though, to be honest, exactly. Definitely hundreds, I would think. I just kept thinking, you know, I'm about to hear it popping, and then it kind of did the same thing to me with the other oak. It just started popping out of nowhere, and that's when I knew it was going. This one actually did it twice. It was like a false alarm at one point, and I heard it doing a little bit of popping, so I went away, and it didn't even really bite. It didn't look like. So I came back and kind of hit on it some more, and then I heard it popping some more, and I think I even seen it move a little bit. And so I kind of got out of the way and put some distance in between me and the tree, and then I looked up at the top, and I could see it slowly beginning to fall. But this will make quite a bit of firewood, this big tree, and as I said, it was dead. I don't want to offend anybody with chopping trees down. I mean, I'm happy to have trees too, and I don't want to kill them, you know, live trees, especially the big ones. But this wood is dead that I'm cutting down, felling, and will be put to a good use, a good purpose. It'll keep somebody warm, you know, so a very worthy cause, in my opinion. Heart rate's doing a lot better, way better than last time I did an oak. It was a little over a month ago. Heart rate's doing much better. Weather's much better too, though. That just shows you how quick you adjust if you stick with something. As you can see here too, I cleared a pretty good perimeter around this tree. That way I could have space to move, you know, as it began to fall, or if something went wrong or whatever. I think it's very important to do that. The vintage axe hoarder. I was talking to him a while back in comments, and he was talking about how much chopping improved his grip strength, and that's very true. My forearms after doing this too, which I'm sure probably has something to do with your grip strength, but my forearms after doing this, my forearms just feel swelled completely up right now. Both of them. They feel just completely swelled up. Yeah, you can feel it big time in your forearms when you do this stuff. And as solid as can be right now. Your muscles just, after you do this, they just swell up. I can feel it too in my hands, like when I squeeze them. Definitely feel it in my hands. I think I feel it in my forearms the most though. All right, then bye. Tough. As I was saying there, it really is a workout doing the chopping like this, especially on a big tree. My forearms just felt extremely tight and swollen. I definitely felt it in my hands too whenever I opened my hands, but I definitely believe as well that I felt it more in my forearms. So I do believe this would increase your grip strength dramatically doing this, you know, quite a bit. and not just big, huge trees, you know, or big trees, but chopping just rounds or whatever, just chopping, you know. Doesn't have to be something this big. It doesn't have to be oak, in my opinion. Yeah, at this point too, I was thinking to myself, if I'm not mistaken, around this point, I was thinking, you know, surely this thing's got to go soon. Where do I need to hit, you know, to make this thing give? And that's kind of what I'm doing here, is examining kind of how much holding wood I have still, and where I kind of think it's holding the strongest at. And soon that forest will be completely different colors. It'll be beautiful. And you can see right through it too once it's like that. You know, you can see right up on the hilltops and stuff. Oh, I'm sleepy. Up late again doing this. What am I even doing here? I left a big pause here. Okay. Back to the other side. Yeah, the base of this is even bigger, of course, but I mean, that's a pretty good size at the base. Another thing too, if you want to wear safety glasses doing this, you know, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. This didn't happen to me the last time, but this time whenever I was, I don't think it showed it on camera, but I think my face was out of the, oh man, I think my face was out of the camera whenever I did it, but I was sitting here chopping as I am now, and a big chunk flew right out and hit me right in the eye. Got me pretty good. Not real bad though, but I mean, safety glasses would have saved me there. So it's your choice. Yeah, I'm excited though to put that axe to the test with some splitting. Honestly, after seeing the profile on it and how wide it is, I think it'll split pretty decent. I really do.
Gotta be getting close. Gotta be getting close. Started popping.
I heard it popping. Yeah. Anyways, I'll leave you here. It's the tree right there, I think. Yeah. Right there. Let's go. It's going. Watch yourself, Cardi. Timber. Oh no, we've got a hanger. Another oak caught it. Oh well. That can be a dangerous situation. Anyways. So it's on another oak. It would have went right in between them other ones if that one hadn't caught it. And that one was way over there. But I guess the top was leaning just enough for it to catch it. And it actually split it down there at the bottom a little bit. Didn't mean to hit it. But anyways, this one will be firewood before long. It's dead. And I will split that. I'm guessing I'll get 40 rounds out of that or so. Maybe 50. It's pretty long. Maybe 50 rounds out of it. But one thing I'll have to do, I could probably get my truck in here if I have to. And I probably can right up through here actually. And I'll probably hook a strap to it right here. Put my truck in 4-wheel drive and pull that way. That'll pull it right down, it should. That'll definitely, if it'll move this thing, I mean, this thing's huge. It definitely will move it off the stump, but once I get it off the stump, I may be able to move it as well a little bit more. Pull some pretty heavy stuff with that truck. No telling how much that thing weighs though. Oh. I don't know how wide that is. I guess in 20 inches. But there she be. Didn't go exactly as planned. I didn't think it would hit that tree, honestly. That tree, as you can see, the base is way over there. Not in the path, but the top, the buff was leaning, and it caught that buff enough to pull that tree down, and that tree caught it. If it wouldn't have been for that, it would have fell in between those other ones. Went on down. But anyways, as I said, I didn't plan to do anything else today except that. I got out here a little bit later today, and I just wanted to fell one and try that axe out. And that axe is a great chopper. Where's it at? It's definitely a good chopper. I believe it'll be a good splitter too. I like that axe all in all, honestly, especially for the price. And that handle, it's not even nicked.
It's not even nicked, and I just chopped a big oak down with it. As you can see, there's some, which I chopped down some grass and stuff with it earlier too. No nicks. As you can see, no nicks. A little dirt from chopping that grass and stuff down with. That's about it.